So now I'm going to be talking about the production evolution and the exhibition part of the movie Frozen. And so Disney, way back in the day, before the 1930s, I believe, they wanted to create this live action or animation film taken from the author Hans Andersen's fairy tale, and especially his fairy tale that is called The Snow Queen. And so once Disney Studios began discussing the remaking of the Snow Queen into an animation film, they really struggled to relate the Snow Queen character to the world, and so there were a lot of attempts at trying to make this happen, but a lot of them failed. So over the years, Disney had a total of 4 attempts of recreating this movie, in which 3 of them were ended up failing each time, as they couldn't really find a way to make the snow character work. And so the first attempt was in 1937, and the second attempt was said to have been in the late 1990s, and then the third attempt was in 2008. And so the fourth time they tried to attempt this, it actually turned out to be a hit. And so in December of 2011, Disney had announced the new film Frozen was going to be released, and then a month later they actually confirmed its release and its release date, which is on November 27th of 2013. And so this all really pieced together when a man by the name of Chris Buck started to begin to pitch the idea of the Snow Queen in a different perspective, and ended up focusing the movie more on love rather than just the character of the Snow Queen. And so this was really the start of the film production of the movie Frozen. And so they began with a budget of around $150 million. And so Disney really wanted to get this fourth time right. So to prepare for the making of this movie, and for putting it into computer animations rather than hand-drawn animations, which originally was the main plan or main idea to do. So they actually had certain teams. They went and visited places. Like one group went to visit Quebec, Canada, just to see how light ended up reflecting and refracting on snow and ice, just to kind of get an idea. And then they also sent people to Norway, which is where the movie was based from. And so they sent people there to get more inspiration in order to help them draw, like especially like the mountains or certain architecture that was there. And so throughout the discussion of this movie, there were a lot of revisions to the characters, to the plot, and to a lot of the songs that were made. And this happened until June of 2013, and so pretty close to the release date in November. So that's when they really finished, everything. And so the movie Frozen was loosely based on the fairy tale of the Snow Queen, but they would really consider it more mainly to be an original film, rather than a film that's based on the fairy tale. And so originally, writers had actually had Elsa as the antagonist, and Anna, just as the protagonist. But then as they were making these revisions and created, like, it was, at least with several drafts later, they ended up changing that, and had Elsa and Anna as both the protagonists to kind of make the story relevant to audiences, because there was a sibling connection between Elsa and Anna, and more people could relate to that love and sibling connection. And so with that being said, they really tried to focus on the concept of an act of true love will thaw a frozen heart, so to speak, because Elsa is frozen, I guess, so to speak, or she has a frozen heart. So then they decided that she would not be an antagonist. And then, so once they finished all of the revisions in June, then they went on to casting for the character roles and stuff like that.